I have worked those dorms. I've worked the maximum security, the medium security, the general population dorms. So, I mean, I know how shitty it can be. Like when you're locked in there, sometimes they're working 12s. When you're locked in there for 12 hours, I mean, you do feel like an inmate.
You got all these people that you have to represent now. You got the jail staff, dispatch, patrol. So what led you to jump into the leadership role within the association?
Hey, Blue Grit Podcast. We were back this week. Co-host Clem McNear and
Tyler Owen.
What's up?
What's going on, man? How was your drive down? Oh, that's right. You've been down here 2 days.
I spent the night.
You were just telling about this cold shower, and it's really got me kind of intrigued. I think you said that keeps you juicy during the daytime, but
Not juicy, but so you take a hot bath or a sauna at night, and it makes your body cool down afterwards,
right.
and sleep cool and kind of unwind.
Okay.
And in the morning, you take a cold plunge or a cold shower at the end, and your body throughout the day is trying to heat back up, and it releases endorphins and burns fat, and it kind of wakes you up. But there's medical, scientific benefits to it in the morning as well.
I'll be damned. I'll have to try that out. I mean, not that I don't like taking cold showers, but
Yeah, stand out in the yard and have Janet spray you off with a cold water hose.
shit, she'd do it too. Ain't no doubt
When
about
it's
it.
30 degrees outside.
Oh, I got to tell this story. I just told them yesterday. So I live in Wimberley, and I'm running in the morning time the other day, and there's Robbie's been to the house, and there's not just like whitetail deer in Hayes County. There's like an infection of deer. So I'm
Infection
jogging.
or infestation?
Infestation. There you go. That's a better word. Sorry, I'm not the most well educated. So I've got this spotlight. So
You heard it right here. Tyler's got an infection.
I want you guys to envision this. I've got this.
You want to trade spots with me? 'Cause
Old,
I'm not
oh
catching
my
you.
God! I've got this old ass Carhartt sweatshirt on. I've got these Walmart shorts. These 5-year-old Hoka tennis shoes on, and I've got this headlamp. It's a spotlight, and I look up, and there's this massive buck, probably easily a 170, 180 class whitetail, and he's snorting. And as I run past him, I'm kind of shocked that he's not running off. And as I run past him, he falls in behind me, and he's kind of doing the whole
Giving you the what's up.
giving me what's up, and he continues to trot behind me. And I'm just thinking, like in the back of my mind, I can see the headlines in Austin, former law enforcement officer, Tmpa, whatever, attacked, sexually assaulted by a whitetail, and it just scared me. And you guys, the nice coworkers that y'all are, made me feel, not nice about it. That was our conversation yesterday afternoon.
He'd probably never seen something like that.
Oh, I
before.
guarantee
Man
he
in-
had one headlight, like the Wallflower song.
One headlight and a guy in tights running down the road in the dark in the morning.
Oh, shit.
Point to your body where the deer touched you at.
Where that deer hurt you.
Yeah, where the deer hurt you.
On the next episode of the Blue Grit Podcast. Anyway, well, man, we got some guests on today. Our field rep from the Southeast Texas, the Golden Triangle. Now that you just insulted me, I don't know how I want to introduce you, but Robbie Campbell is in the house. Robbie, welcome back to the Blue Grit stage.
Thanks. It's great to be here. And I didn't mean to really hurt your feelings when I know I really didn't.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm used to it, and Clint's used to it. Well, you guys kind of conspired on that one, so the hell with both of you. But anyway, go
You
ahead.
teed it up. We just hit it.
You're right. I did.
Robbie Campbell from the Golden Triangle likes to be called the Golden Boy. The Golden Boy from Golden Triangle. I
like that.
That's what he went by in his wrestling days.
We wasn't going to talk about the wrestling days, guys. It was fun while it lasted.
Speaking of men in tights.
Yeah, the Robbie Libre, the Nacho Libre.
Yeah.
Robbie, tell us who we got on today, brother.
We have Caleb Mitchell with Jefferson County Sheriff's Association over there. Me and Caleb made friends. It's been a few years now, I guess 2 or 3 years now. Always kind of known about each other. When I worked at Beaumont, he worked at Jeff County. And now he's been the president for 2 years.
Yeah, going on. Yep.
The president of their Sheriff's Association, and he's up for election now. I think you drew one opponent, but we won't talk about that because I think you're going to be just fine where you're at.
I think so, too. I'm hoping that. Yep.
You can vote for Caleb.com.
This political ad paid for by
And approved.
Yeah.
Welcome on, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Thank y'all for
Good to
having
have
me
you
on.
here.
Yeah.
I want to ask, did you rode with Robbie?
Yeah.
He
He didn't give me an option.
Any complaints?
No,
Okay.
he
All right.
he just told me to keep quiet about it
I'm
until we
looking
get
out
off the
for
show.
you.
Good. I'm glad you listened.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Keep your eyes closed. Don't just. We'll be there in a little bit.
Blink if you need help.
Yeah, well, for those that don't know, Beaumont or Jefferson County is actually the county where Beaumont resides in. That's Beaumont's the county seat of Jefferson County. Let's dive off to where you grew up and talk about you.
Well, I grew up in Nederland, which is it's a smaller town outside of Beaumont, which is kind of the area they call Mid-County. You have Nederland, Port Neches, and Groves, which is in between. You got Beaumont, Port Arthur, and then in between that, they call that Mid-County. Went to school there. Started working at Jefferson County Jail when I was 19. Worked there for about 11 months. Wasn't for me, and put in for the academy there at Lamar, and went to the academy. Got hired on at Nederland Police Department. Worked there about 2 years, a little over 2 years. Then applied at Jefferson County. Been there about 8 years now.
Now, Nederland sits inside Jefferson County, right?
Correct.
So you probably had interaction with Jefferson County.
Yeah. I always had interactions with those guys. Highway interdiction was kind of always my goal when I first got into it. I was working in a smaller city. We didn't have a lot of cross country highways where you're going to come across that kind of stuff, and that's really what I always wanted to get into. And I knew that Jefferson County, for years they've been known for having a pretty good, group of interdiction guys. We had I-10, 90, and 73, and that was really the main reason that I wanted to go to the county.
And we've talked about this on the podcast before. Clint brought it up. The rural law enforcement, for the listeners that don't either reside in Texas or do reside in Texas and don't live in a rural area, the bond that the rural Texas small towns have, the small town police officers,
Yep.
and the counties and DPS, game wardens,
Yep.
I can't even describe really how that is. Clint worked at a very large department in the Metroplex up in Dallas. I worked for a decent size agency in Central East Texas, and you worked at Beaumont. But even outside of that, man, it's almost like having like 5 different agencies in one county with nobody. I mean, there'd be 5 different agencies on one call.
Yeah. We had that the night before New Year's when Beaumont had that big party that got out of control. They called for all agencies, and I mean we showed up. DPS showed up. Lumberton showed up. Hardin County showed up.
Oh, it was a party then.
Yeah. And in Mid-County where I worked, Nederland, Port Neches, and Groves, they're all give or take around 20,000 people each city, but they're all on the same radio, same CAD system. So it's pretty much like one agency. Like if we were bogged down with calls, Port Neches would come take our calls for us. If Port Neches was bogged down, Groves would take them. We were pretty much just like one agency. We would just help each other out.
Yeah, touch on that, Clint, because you worked at Garland. I mean, and I'm not saying that the Garland officers themselves certainly wouldn't go over to Mesquite and do it, because you and I both know the brotherhood's there. But you and I know we both know that the red tape wouldn't allow that to happen. So kind of explain.
Well, and it's just you only know what you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I worked at the jail in Plano briefly, 2.5 years, and then went to Garland. And, in patrol in Garland, you may go a couple of years without interacting with another agency just because you just don't cross paths. If we had a major accident, we called the motor jocks out and they worked it. I mean, there was just we just never interacted, and it wasn't because we wouldn't, or there just was never an occasion unless you happened to, like 635 is our border with Dallas. If there was a wreck up there, Dallas squad may stop by, hey, is this y'all's or ours, or, whatever. Okay, cool, see you later. But it's just cool in being in this role, seeing how much you interact and getting to know people around the state, man, it's just super cool. And I think the downside of being at a big department is you're not forfeited the opportunity. You're not afforded the opportunity to see that. Because if I ran into guys from other agencies, I just don't even know them enough to interact. And like I'm in tight with a bunch of the game wardens, and they're like, yeah, we know everybody around there because they either may need us or we're going to need them, and sooner or later we're all going to need each other. And it's a really, really cool missed opportunity at big agencies.
Yeah, and most game wardens, and I love my game wardens. Everybody loves game wardens out there. It's like they wanted to do a little bit of hunting, a little bit of hunting, policing kind of, but they are really the best street cops for whatever reason are game wardens. And I don't know why that is, but they love getting involved with city shit, county calls, and I don't know why that is.
And you got some good ones down there. Mike Boone.
Yeah. And, he's a legend.
There's a couple down there.
Mike retired. He went to work for the Special Rangers.
Yeah, Southwest Texas Cattle Raisers.
Okay. Yeah.
But you've had some really good guys down there.
We had a good discussion about game wardens on the way up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
personally, when I'm out doing the hunting, I'm not friends with them. But whenever I'm at work, yeah, we're all good. Yeah, we're good, man. But
Yeah.
That's funny.
Stop doing the outlaw hunting and
Yeah.
make friends with them.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
we talked about that too. We knew some people.
I don't
that
do outlaw hunting though, so
or fishing.
I know people that do, but I don't. Do
I got to
that.
tell this funny story about a game warden. It was a game warden when I first started at Jefferson PD. I was a 21-year-old, really kind of just a naive moron. 2 stories. I walked out of the jail, and there was a guy named Rick Lane.
But he's grown now.
Well, maybe. And so the statute of limitations are up, and Rick's now retired. But I walked out of the jail, and this is Jefferson, Texas, so it's a population in the county is like 10,000. And I've got my uniform starts with Stay Flow, so you could literally cut paper on my pants, right? I walk out of the jail, and this game warden said, "Man, that's a nice Glock 22. It's a standard issue." And I'm like, "It damn sure is." And I kind of moved my hip over to where I'm showing him my.
Oh, you
my,
hipped it
my
out
nice,
there.
Oh, hell yeah. And he said, "Let me take a look at
That's
that."
what
What's
he did
the
to
same-
that buck when he was jogging
Yeah,
the other morning.
yeah. Well, I kind of, moved my hip over so I could show this Glock 22, and Rick grabbed it. Now, this is the same pistol that he's got on his hip, right? And it's a Glock, standard Glock. And so he grabs his Glock. And at that time, Jefferson PD, we had to buy our own ammo. So, like, I was making $2,000 a year. He takes his pistol and fires all 15 rounds at the backside of the sheriff's office and said, "Damn, it shoots good." Hands it to me and walks and gets in his truck and drives off. And I was like, "Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Now I got to go buy 15 rounds of ammo."
Yeah.
Fast forward 3 months later, I walk out of my house and I see these 2 dogs. And it was right after the Michael Vick dogfighting situation. And so I was mortified because I saw these 2 dogs and I was trying to, it looked like they were tied, their tails were tied together. And I was from Dallas, and I was naive. I was completely naive. And
Were you drunk when you saw?
No. I was on duty, right?
Okay.
So I was a Jefferson cop. And back to your point about being on one channel, Jefferson PD, DPS, we're all on the same channel. It's 2:00 in the morning. So I run up to this dog and I'm trying to help it. And again, all of our hearts are pouring out
trying
for
to
all
do
these
the knot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every time I'd run up to this dog, it would run off, and the other one would cry. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is horrible. And I'm almost in my I've got the Sarah McLachlan song playing in my background, and I'm like, my God. So I get on the radio, because we don't have cell phones at the time, and I said, County, just 1580, is he out tonight? He said, yeah. And he goes, yeah, what you got? I said, I got these 2 dogs, and their tails are tied together. And he said, 10-9, which is repeat. And I repeated. Now looking back on it now, man, he did me wrong. He said, "What's your 20?" I said, I'm at my residence. And he said, "I'll be there shortly." And he laughed for a solid hour.
Oh, that's awesome.
And forever, for now, one of my nicknames in East Texas is now 2 dogs. And so,
Oh, you're never going to live that.
oh
down.
yeah, but it's a funny story, and now everybody knows it. But yeah, man, so game wardens got a great sense of humor. Great guys, great bunch of guys.
That's your Native American name, 2 dogs?
Yeah. Okay, well, all right. 2 dogs, Angel's Envy.
Oh, tied in a knot.
I just can't. I was trying to imagine 2 dogs' tails tied together in a knot.
I'm not sure what I was thinking.
I've heard of 2 cats.
We've all worked patrol at 2:00 in the morning, and you kind of get that like delirious side effect. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like,
I thought I
maybe
saw Bigfoot one night running behind the DPS office.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can't.
Did it have a single headlight?
No, it didn't. I mean, this thing was like 8 foot tall.
In
Running through the
Hayes County? No. Okay.
woods. No.
All right.
All right, we're back.
Yeah, we're back. Sorry about the rabbit trail. So you're at Jefferson County. You've been there 8 years.
8 years, yeah.
I want to backtrack a minute. You said you worked at the jail for a while, and
Yeah.
you realized that wasn't your thing. We talk a lot on here. We have a lot of guests on that work in the jail. Was it the challenges you faced working in the jail? Was it you spent enough time there to realize this ain't my thing? I want to go be a street officer. What was it about the jail that you realized? Yeah, I'm out.
I guess, I was just excited to be there when I was 19. We got to wear, the little whatever jailer uniform and my 1 pair of cuffs and radio. I thought I was, LAPD walking in there. But after about 4 or 5 months, you're pretty much, you are an inmate. You live there for 8 hours. You're locked in the dorm. I guess you can freely exit the door if you wanted, but you're pretty much an inmate for 8 hours a day. And it just, after a while, just the stationary of sitting there and watching these 60 grown men watch TV and play cards, it just that wasn't for me.
And I think that's to your point. Now that you, and we're going to fast forward and kind of backtrack. Now that you represent Jefferson County Sheriff's Association,
Yep.
and now that you're the leadership, and you represent that very job,
Sure.
right? You represent that very job.
Yep.
That probably gives you more respect for those positions
Absolutely.
of what they actually go through. So if you want to touch on that.
Yeah, it's for a lot of the guys that are on the LE side that, that's all they've done. Like they came out of the academy, came straight to LE instead of working corrections before they went to the academy. It's definitely a perspective, because a lot of guys in LE are like, man, all they do is just, you sit there and listen to 48, if it's medium security, it's 48, or if it's minimum, it's 60. You're just sitting there watching these guys play dominoes and cards and watch TV, which, yes, that is a good chunk of the job. But, I've been in some pretty nasty situations in the jail.
Oh, yeah.
Growing up, I grew up going to church, didn't cuss. I'd gone around, my parents let me around church going folk my whole life. I didn't know bad people existed besides Stevie. I didn't even know that was real. So here I am, this little choir boy, when I go in the jail, and this guy kept slamming his dominoes on the table. And that's like a rule there. You don't do that. Mm-hmm. And so my FTO that I had for 2 weeks, he goes, hey, tell that guy to take his feet off the table. I said, sir, do you mind just taking your feet off the table? And he just kind of looks at me like, kiss my ass, dude. And goes back to watching TV and slamming his dominoes. And he's like, you can't talk to people like that. And he said,
was I too firm?
Yeah, I was confused by that. He's like, no, you got to make these people think that you're 1 inch away from being in there in the bunk next to them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you can talk to people like that? And he explodes on this guy, like threatens him within an inch of his life for slamming a domino. And that's when I realized, like, oh, man, like you got to be violent,
Yeah.
And that's, I started saying more bad words, my mom said. She said, that job has turned you into,
an animal.
Yeah, yeah. And me being my innocent little choir boy self at 19, in that 11 months I was at the jail it changed my entire life.
You ended up on the prayer list as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
exactly.
We have a lot of non-LE listeners, and, what he's referring to, in our role, we can't treat everybody like they're, a lifelong convict. But in dealing with some of these people who've been in and out of jail and in and out of prison their entire life, if you come up meek and mild and please sir, they're gonna eat you alive. Yep. And sometimes some of these people, the only thing they understand, because they're a very powerful, lived a rough life person, mm-hmm. is somebody that mirrors that comes across as very gruff and is not going to take crap off of you. And so you can't walk lightly through a pod and baby and will you please and baby them like children, or you're going to get eaten alive in there. Yep. One route I was going with about working in the jail, we talk about it a lot on here. Looking back now, in the jail, you're required to, and especially at 19, I started in the jail when I was 19 or 20. You have to learn a lot of life skills like how to communicate, de-escalate, yep. Read body language, figure out when you're being scammed, conned, and lied to. Mm-hmm. Do you think it was helpful now, looking back, those 8 or 9 months spent immersed in the convict life?
I think about that a lot because even as a rookie patrol officer, I still, thinking back about all these, I think about all the interactions I had when I first hit the road, about how many people got over on me. Whereas I didn't know it then, but with the training I have now, I'm like, dude, that guy probably had 5 pounds of cocaine in his, and I believed him. But I think back, if I had not worked at the jail before I went to LE, I can't imagine. I mean, they would have took me to the cleaners because I never was around. I had a really good childhood, very stable home. I was never around, like, lying. Who lies to the cops? Like, that's not allowed. You can't do that. Right. So when I first went into the jail, and those guys, I'd be at the desk, and, if you know anything about working in the jail, there's always one guy that's up there to distract you. They send him to the desk.
The con.
Man, that's where you get them boots, man. They're Nike police boots. Man, that's pretty cool. And while they're doing that, there's 2 guys with the pilot light in the dryer smoking weed. So looking back at the beginning of my jail, you know, they did that all the time. They'd send the guy out there like, man, dude, you been working out, or man, you know, totally fluffing you up while they're back there giving tattoos. And as I caught on to that, it really did give me a good head start, I think, whenever I got on the street, that had I not done that, would have been a huge disadvantage.
Cool.
You know?
Yep. I think it's super important, and we've talked on here several times about people with a background in the jail or have gone and spent some time like in dispatch. I worked at Plano, and folks would stay frustrated at times with dispatch, and a buddy of mine was getting unlimited overtime over there. I was like, well, I'm going to go there and suck up some unlimited dispatch overtime. I spent about not even 4 minutes. I spent less than 4 minutes on evenings at the NCIC console with headphones on, and she was trying to, and I can type pretty good. And probably 2 minutes into, hey, can you check one? Hey, is my record out? How come my record in here? Hey, did you not public service this homeowner? I mean, and I got up. I was like, I'm done with this bullshit. There ain't. And I said, is this bad? She goes, no, it's actually pretty slow. I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I can't do this. I mean, I think those jail experiences, dispatch experience, and seeing really gives you an insight.
Yep.
When you go to patrol.
Huge.
Well, and it's also like a really interesting aspect of the different facets of all the law enforcement. Really, there's so many careers within law enforcement itself. Mm-hmm. And shout out to dispatch, because we don't talk about them enough. We don't give you guys enough credit. You guys really are the silent heroes. You guys don't get the accolades you should. So right here, right now, let's call it out what it is. Thank y'all so much. You've saved my life many times. I damn sure know y'all saved everybody in here.
Yeah.
So thank y'all so much. But law enforcement's got so many. You've got the jail. You've got dispatch. You've got patrol. You've got CID. And that's kind of what's cool about where you work at.
Yep.
And the organization that you are the president of is because you represent all those. And that's not really – there's not a whole lot of that, even at like a local municipality association. Does Beaumont have a jail?
No, we used to, but they turned it into a museum, and we just take people to Jefferson County.
Okay, yeah. So, like, we're your leadership role right now, you've got a pretty big role and responsibility in that. And what led you to kind of get involved with that? Because, again, you've got all these people that you have to represent now. You got the jail staff, dispatch, patrol. So what led you to jump into the leadership role within the association?
I started off as a board member, I think in 2018 is whenever I first ran for an executive board spot. How ours is kind of lined up, we have 4 LE board members, 4 corrections, and then we have treasurer, secretary, vice president, and president. So I was a board member for about 3.5, 4 years, and I just kind of wanted to get involved. You know, I'd heard, that's who does like fundraisers, and, when we have officers, like if their house burns down, they help raise money for, clothes, and at Christmas, give out bikes, all that. So I've always really liked doing stuff that is involved in the community. So that's why I got involved with it. And we had a president spot open up, and I guess I just had an out-of-body experience and wanted to do that job,
You never knew what you were getting into.
Yeah. It's been a big learning curve, but Robbie here and Leighton, they've both, believe it or not, Leighton helped me too.
Wow.
They've really been
That's
a great.
Leighton Gennary, by the way, our other Southeast Texas field rep.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
They've given me a lot of guidance. When I got into the president spot, I really had no clue what to do. None.
I don't think anybody does when they jump into that.
Yeah. You wake up and now you're getting 30 phone calls from, hey, so-and-so's picking on me. Hey, he didn't approve my time off. Hey, he made fun of what color my personal car is, and I don't like, you get all the complaints. As the president, you're the fix-all. Mm-hmm. You got to explain to people that it's for contract breaches only. Like, if it breaches contract, then I can help. But if it's like a personal issue, I can't. But I've enjoyed it. It's been a good learning experience. I think it's kind of helped me learn how to manage, conflict between people. But Robbie's been a huge help with me.
What is your current role at the sheriff's office?
A sergeant on patrol.
Okay.
Just went back to midnight patrol.
And you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but I saw it, so did Clint, and I'm sure Robbie did too. But how immediate was it after you became the president of the association and you had people in other leadership roles within your department kind of come to you and say, hey, I need your advice on this. It's almost like an overnight.
Yeah. It was really, I went from being, I felt like was a peon. Like ain't nobody listening to me, and then, to have somebody that was higher in seniority than me, like, hey, what do you think about if we do the, talking all these crazy percentages and we crunch this down and we extend the percentage out over this? And I'm like, dude, y'all don't know. I'm still figuring this job out. But a lot of people did. Like they automatically thought, union president, this guy knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it is kind of the name of the game with me sometimes. But like I said, anytime I would have something I didn't understand, Robbie's always been a good guy to explain. You know how good he is at talking.
Stop.
Yeah, he's pretty good at it. So he's helped me too. But it's been a big learning curve. But I think it's turning out better.
Good.
Becoming president overnight's like becoming CID overnight.
Yes, exactly. That's a great way.
I was in patrol on Friday. I go to CID on Monday. The same lieutenant who had no use for me on Friday because I was a complete idiot patrolman is calling me Monday, my first day in CID. I need to bounce something off of you. We got a stolen tractor trailer and 2 in custody, and we got stolen property in 3 different cities, and we recovered the trailer, different location from the tractor. What do you want us to do out here? And I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure yesterday I was a friggin' idiot that you
wouldn't even talk to me.
Talk to, and now you're calling me. And I actually know the same amount of nothing today as I did yesterday.
That's a good comparison, though. You're right. When you get promoted up to CID and all of a sudden you inherit 20 cases and you got people calling you, and when you show up on scene, sergeants and lieutenants are like, hey, this is your scene now. Yeah. Like, well, yesterday I was one of your guys on perimeter over there, blocking traffic.
I had to ask you to go potty yesterday.
Yeah. And being president, when you get elected president, it's like a magic wand. People think you get wanded overnight.
Oh, I know.
Now you have all the answers to all the questions.
I know.
And there's
I do know
everything.
And there's a lot of responsibility with that because you could take that and run with it and get big-headed.
Sure.
And that's where the negativity and that's where the bad decision-making comes. And that's where you see a lot of bad leadership come within associations or really, quite honestly, departments. The same thing applies with department leadership as it does with association leadership. And both are very parallel. And I don't give a damn what anybody says about that.
But I think your grounded leadership probably goes back to what you're talking about, the lifestyle that you were raised in. The humbled Christian good person, take care of people, treat others how you'd want to be treated. That, in addition to your experience in the jail, has probably been a couple of good factors for you.
Yeah, it is because, sometimes if we have, a corrections person that's our president and they haven't worked in law enforcement, there's kind of like a disconnect. You can kind of, get to know the guys and understand how things work, but I think it really it has been a big help that, I have worked those dorms. I've worked the maximum security, the medium security, the general population dorms. So, I know how shitty it can be. Like when you're locked in there, sometimes they're working 12s, when you're locked in there for 12 hours, you do feel like an inmate. You can't, like on patrol, if you want to go eat, hey, y'all want to go meet at Chili's? And you can. If you live, if your house is in the jurisdiction, go swing by the house. You kind of have that freedom. If you want to go eat, if you got time, go meet with your wife. Whereas in the jail, you're in there.
Yeah.
What you got is what you got. It's almost like when you're at school as a kid.
Great point.
There's no leaving. They're kind of bound to where they're at.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you've faced or the association's faced? What are some things you've had to try and tackle or learn or adjust to during your time?
I really wanted to kind of get the communication good between our corrections and law enforcement people, just so they could help understand that, we each have a job to do, and we're on the same team, and we got to do this thing together.
It's not a competition. We're all on the same team.
Yeah, we're going to get the same, our contract and all that. So that's been a thing, and really just trying to get our representation better in our service that we're paying for monthly to make that better. And that's just been something I've been striving for, I guess, for the past year and a half to try to get our service better for our association.
Customer service or legal representation, or is there some specific issue that's been a challenge about who that issue?
Yeah. that's really been since I've taken over as president is whenever I kind of acknowledged there was a problem. When I started noticing how much money we're paying in dues per year, a pretty significant amount, and not knowing who our liaison was to speak with after I became president.
And you're not talking about Leighton and Robbie.
No. It's the other organization. So when I started realizing the guy that was our rep previously, he would show up to maybe 2 meetings a year. We'd have our yearly crawfish boil, and we have a Christmas party. That's like our 2 big inter-association parties we have for our members. Would never show up. So I kind of started wondering, like, what are these guys, what is their job? What are they, if we're paying all this money, like, I understand, yes, when we have a critical incident, that's what it's for, but there's got to be something more. Like, surely they get involved at a local level. And we had some local agencies, like the agency I used to work for, Nederland. They recently, I guess a couple years ago, joined Tmpa. I think Port Neches, Tmpa, and
Groves.
Yeah, Groves. And I started talking to those guys about the service they were getting with Tmpa. And I was like, we're not getting that. We're not getting that at all. So that's really something I've been striving with, is to really, I guess, spread the information of Tmpa, because I've seen how good the service is compared to other people.
Right. So I went through similar when I was on the board in a leadership role at Garland. We were with a different organization. We couldn't get help. We couldn't get attorneys to show up. We couldn't get attorneys. Sometimes they just wouldn't show up at all.
Yep.
Sometimes it would be hours and hours. Well, I was working police shootings. Well, I can't stand around and wait on a lawyer for 5 hours. And we pulled our association, 340 people, 330 or 40, 50 people out of another affiliation and moved them to Tmpa. Well, then I'd get called out to work a police shooting and the lawyer would beat me to it. And I'm like, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
The lawyer should be out there in a time, or they ought to at least be communicating, hey, I'm en route. I'm 30 minutes out driving to get to you. Yeah. But
Correct.
It was a drastic swing in the customer service.
Yeah.
Like literally overnight, it was a drastic change.
Yeah, and with our, I'm not naming names or anything, but there was a field rep that I met with right whenever I got into the president role.
We're talking pretty recent, within the last year.
Yeah, pretty recent.
Non-TMPA field rep.
Yeah, non-TMPA. Okay. And went and had lunch right after I became president, kind of just get a feel of, like, meet them, like, hey, this is what, I'm kind of looking to do with our association. This is kind of why I've got into this role. And said pretty much, like, I want, representation on our local level a little bit better. Yes, I understand that when stuff hits the fan, that's what, our affiliation is there for. But when we're having fundraisers and local things, when we do benefits or like our crawfish bowl that we do for our members, I'd like to just come out and meet the people. Like, come out and help. You ain't got to do a whole lot. Just come out there and meet the people so they can know who you are.
Represent.
Yeah.
Represent.
Yeah, exactly. And
I think that's the foundation of that job title, right? Isn't it representative?
yeah, you would think.
Okay,
and
sorry.
I get told after saying that it's not our job to sell hot dogs and hamburgers. That's the local association's job. That's not our job. So anything at the local level, that's not our job. That's not our responsibility. And so that's kind of when I realized that I needed to find something better. I do get it. That's what, it's for legal representation, but the amount of money we're paying y'all, I think we deserve a little bit more. Like, in the meantime, when nothing's going on, I mean, we should still be getting service because we're still paying money.
Drop by and say hi, occasionally, something.
Yeah. And I'll give you a good example of, I guess Hurricane Harvey is really when I got turned on to Tmpa is 2017. Yeah. We, storm's going crazy. Cops are without socks, toiletries, and all that. Well, Leighton shows up at Port Neches PD with a trailer, full of toiletries, socks, things you need, during a hurricane when you're on hurricane duty. And so people from agencies that were not affiliated with Tmpa were getting to go and, get stuff and just providing it to whoever, not just people affiliated with Tmpa. So that was really a big impact for me to see that Tmpa was willing to, even non-affiliated agencies were able to, they were providing for those guys, just doing the right thing. So that was really a big impact on.
What Caleb's talking about is our disaster response or emergency response team. And we go to tornadoes, hurricanes, West Texas fires. We go to all of that stuff. And I can tell you, man, my proudest moment to work for Tmpa, Harvey, I've never been around a hurricane. I'm from North Texas.
Oh, okay.
I'm scared snotless of hurricanes.
They're fun.
I've just never been.
They're interesting.
They're fun. Yeah.
I've never been around them. So they call and said, hey, the emergency response team is rolling, and we're all going to meet in Victoria. I'm like, cool. So I get in the Tmpa truck with a trailer. I'm heading to Victoria, and somewhere north of Victoria, I drive into it. I'm used to driving into rain. I'm not used to it. It scared the hell out of me. So I drive through it. We get into Victoria. We stage. And one of the challenges that we learned quickly is you got to be self-sufficient when you arrive, or you just become a burden.
Yep.
So like we bring plenty of fuel for ourselves, food, or housing. We bring travel trailer or whatever to be self-sustained, so then we don't become a burden to y'all because we're trying to support y'all. But day two, we get up, and I don't know that area in detail, but we go somewhere south of Victoria, out in a super rural area. We're trying to find a big command post, a regional command post. We're kind of driving around and calling contacts, trying to find it. We have a bunch of hot food and a bunch of gear. Well, a local tells us, hey, it's down that gravel road. So we go down the gravel road where there's a Tahoe that I guess has been rolled across the field or during the storm, and it's almost like a ball. It's rounded, and they're using it as a barricade to block the road. And there's it looked like he's 16-year-old deputy standing out there, soaking wet in uniform, standing there manning the barricade. We pull up in the Tmpa truck, and I said, hey, man, is command post up here? He's like, yes, sir. It's you can go on by. I said, you okay? No, sir. And I said, your family, your house okay? I don't know. I've been on duty for 30-something hours. I don't know if my family's good. And I said, your house? I don't know. It's going to make me upset. I said, you don't know if your family's okay, if your house is still in there? No, sir, I've been at work since it hit. And I said, okay. Well, we were supposed to give out like a pair of underwear and a pair of socks. And I said, do you have any dry socks? Do you have any dry underwear, dry undershirts? No, sir. I said, do you want some? He starts blubbering. You have dry socks I could put on? I'm like, holy shit. So I just start handing him cases of socks. Yeah. And he's standing there bawling because I have dry socks and dry underwear. And I thought, dude, you're at a bad point in your life when you're crying over a pair of socks. You would have thought I was giving him $1 million.
Yeah.
And I realized at that moment, cops and firemen, everybody else is taking care of their own home and their family. Those guys have been on duty. He told me he'd been on duty like 30-something or 40-something hours.
Yeah.
Had no clue if his house, he had somewhere to go home to, if his family was still alive. Standing in the middle of the road, blubbering over a pair of socks. And I thought, as bad as that is, that's my proudest moment to be in Tmpa in 13 years, is at least I was able to hand that kid a pair of dry socks and some dry underclothes to try and put on in that moment. And I'm like, man, alive, that's affecting, that's helping people.
Yep. That was definitely the first start of Tmpa for me. Seeing Leighton do that was the huge impact that wanted me to steer the direction towards Tmpa.
Yeah, and that's just one story of me. Because pretty much.
I wasn't tooting my horn on that.
No. Yeah,
seeing somebody, probably the lowest point ever in their life, and seeing a grown man cry over a pair of dry 100%. Socks, I'm like, we're actually helping somebody today.
But to your point about helping somebody and affecting change, that's exactly what you were doing that day, is affecting change. You saw it in Port Neches, which is I don't know how far that is from Victoria.
Yep.
But that's the point, is that mission itself of Hurricane Harvey and what we were doing down there. That's the mission. I mean, that's the mission of Tmpa, and that's what – this isn't an association. And I preach this all the time. This is not an association. This is a big-ass family. And that's at least the way that I view it. And I tell people that, I mean, that's just the way it is. And I think our field reps, that's how they push it, and that's how you see it in their work.
Yeah, that's when I went and talked to the jail staff, and hey, I want y'all to join our family. You're not joining an association or organization. You're joining a family of 33,000 members across the state, where our services are better. We're a full-service association. We are. We're a full-service family. We're brothers. If you need socks, or if you need help with a contract, or if you get a critical incident, or an in-custody death, or OIS, whatever it is, we're going to be there. We just don't show up when shit goes bad.
Yep. Right.
We want to celebrate the officers' good times, the bad times, and if you need anything, you can call us. It's like everybody. When I went and talked to the jail staff, and I'm going to get on this for a second, I asked them if they know their current field rep with your current association over there, and they all said no. And I told them the guy's name. Mm-hmm. They didn't know it. Yep. And I said, but you know who I am, and you're never going to forget me, because I'm going to keep coming back, and I'm going to keep coming back. And if you don't join or not, you're still going to see me in the house.
Sure.
I'm still going to be there.
Yeah, I wanted involvement. I feel like we deserve more than just when we need you. Like, yeah, be there when we need you for a phone call, but in the meantime, there should be something. Yeah. I think more but around the Tmpa guys, and everybody I've met up here has been great. I mean, they're all great guys. I get a good vibe with Tmpa. You know, like when you talk to them, you get treated like you've been known for 20 years, and I've been nothing but impressed with Tmpa.
Well, your standard, if it's Robbie's, then we're good.
He had to figure it out my bad spots.
Maybe not.
His leg shakes when he scratched the back of his knee, but we'll get to that next episode.
All my skeletons in the closet.
Yeah. But yeah, so man, I don't think we have anything else.
I want to hit on a crazy story you shared.
Oh yeah.
No.
Tell us about. Was it 2018?
Yeah, 19.
The day before Thanksgiving 2019.
Yeah. I guess it was probably around midnight, 1 a.m. This was when I was still a grade 1 deputy, and my buddy from Port Neches PD hits me up, and our schedules aligned. He's like, "Hey man, you working?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Let's go meet up." We had a little hidden spot off the highway where we could kind of back into a covered area, and we'd meet up usually at nighttime after it slowed down. And he's on one side.
For you non-listeners, that means like bullshit and talk. That doesn't mean anything inappropriate.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we're going to – this is where we go and hang out once the radio slows down. And it's kind of like an industrial highway down there in Port Neches, where if you're familiar with there's already a lot of refineries, but this particular road is it's called Pure Atlantic Road, and it's a gauntlet of refineries. So growing up in Mid-County, as a kid, you always hear the rumors of like, man, if one blows up, they're all blowing up. And this little stretch of road, you always think like this would be the worst spot to be in if a plant did explode, because you're surrounded by them and there's nothing but refineries. And so on one side of this refinery, my buddy, he's backed up in the wood line, with his back of his patrol car is facing this refinery. And I'm going towards it to go meet him. I have to drive in front of it. And as I get probably, I guess about 200 yards from the refinery, it's to my left. If you know the exhaust flame stacks that shoot a fire out for, it's like waste product. It was pretty big, the flame. Like, man, that's pretty big. That's a pretty big.
Bigger than normal.
Yeah, it's bigger than normal, but nothing out of the ordinary. Then it gets really big. Like, never seen it that big in my, 28 years of living in Southeast Texas. And then it just sucked back down into the pipe like that. I'm like, oh, man, that ain't good. And immediately, kaboom, fireball into the clouds, shockwave. It cracks my windshield on my patrol car. Yeah. And I'm thinking, I'm not even going to have like a cool story of my, how I died in the line of duty. I got blown off the road by an exploding refinery.
So it wasn't just the pipe that exploded; it was
No.
the refinery itself.
Yeah, they had buildup of old product in a part of the refinery that they should have maintained that they weren't. It was building up over time, and it finally pressurized enough to where it's butadiene is what it was, and it exploded. And we didn't know if there was a missile strike from Russia. We didn't know what was going on.
It was that devastating.
Oh, yeah. There was a fire station and a credit union to my left, windows just completely blown out of it. And the only thing I was thinking of is, if I'll care if my skin burns off or lose my hearing, I just shielded my eyes and just hit the brakes as hard as I could. I didn't want to lose my sight. I slammed the brakes and without even looking, just slapped the thing into reverse and just stomped it. Turned the wheel, went the other way. There's like a kind of a secondary explosion. I'm just waiting at any moment just to get evaporated as I'm driving away. And so we had all hands on deck. People are coming in that are off. All the agencies, like we're breaking into the school's bus barn to get buses to
Get
like
people out.
evacuate people, out of the neighborhoods. And it was interesting. It was such a, we all thought we were dead. Our lieutenant's like, y'all need to be knocking on doors, and like 800-foot, fireball. And we're like, dude, we're about to get wiped out knocking on these people's doors. And, some people, we knock on their door and they'd answer, see the huge flame. Like, hey, y'all got to get out of here. I'm trying to sleep in. It's my day off. Slam the door shut. We're like, do you not see what's going on here?
What time? That was at, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah. It was pretty funny how some people, they reacted how you would think, like, oh, gosh, we need to get out of here. And some people were like, leave me alone.
Could you imagine? That could have just as easily happened at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Sure.
That road's very busy. There's a lot of businesses around there.
A Little League baseball park is 200
Holy
feet
cow.
from it.
The Port Neches Groves High School?
High school is right there.
Right behind it.
Yeah.
And,
There could have been
They
kids
sustained
at
some
the-
damage there. That could have been devastating. I mean,
Sure. Because at rush hour, it's full of cars from people getting off work at the refineries. Like that, it could have been really bad.
Yeah.
It really did happen at the best time because there's kids playing in the city park, the city library's right there. There could have been a high school football game going on.
Yeah.
And who knows what can happen. So it was kind of at the best time possible, but. Yeah,
Except for you driving by.
Yeah, I was the one guy that had to be driving right in front of it.
well, his car video got circulated so much. I think it was on like national news and shared all over the world.
Yep.
And I didn't know. I'm like, this poor cop, man. How lucky is he? And I found out today. Well, this morning it was Caleb. It was his car. It was his video.
If you could only, I wish there was, because it's after the fact, so it's purely video. It's no audio. It's probably a good thing because if you could probably heard what I said whenever it happened, it probably wouldn't be able to be played on the news.
Your mom would be upset with that.
Yeah, she would have.
You'd be back on the prairie list.
It wouldn't have been good. It wouldn't have been good. Yeah, I wasn't hearing for about 4 hours after that. Had my ears ringing, but yeah, it was,
And you said you recall watching the blast wave go across the street.
Yeah, and when I can, I'll show you all the video, and you can see in front of me the highway. You see the trees all fold back, and you see the shockwave go across the highway in front of my unit. And I'm not sure, probably about 40 to 50 feet is where the initial shockwave stopped. Mm-hmm. You can see it in the air moving across the ground and stopped for it, got to my Tahoe, but who knows, probably could have flipped me off the road.
I'm sure it would have flipped you off the road.
No. So the scariest moment of my law enforcement career really wasn't even like criminal related at all.
I'm going to Google that date because I guarantee you it registered on the Richter scale. I guarantee you it did.
I remember hearing something in the news about that it did. I mean, I'm 12 miles away as the crow flies, probably 25 miles roadway.
It was the day before Thanksgiving of 2019.
Yeah.
Well, if Garth Brooks' concert at LSU Stadium had one register, I'm sure a shockwave that magnitude probably did.
Oh, yeah. It had to have. It had to have.
Yeah. You like Garth Brooks?
I do, yeah. Who doesn't? You're not American if you don't like Garth Brooks. What kind of question is that, Robbie?
We're stepping off in some weeds, brother.
Jeez.
We'll talk later.
God. Who hired this guy?
Hey, what?
Do I like Garth Brooks?
Did you find out where he put the bodies?
Baton Rouge? I mean, Friends in Low Places? Hint, hint.
Good music.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We got sidetracked.
Yeah.
Rabbit hole.
What's coming up at Jeffco over there for y'all? There's a vote. Your election's coming up. There's some other stuff on
we
the ballot.
have some election spots for a couple board spots on there, and then we're also holding on the ballot is also a vote for us to transition to Tmpa.
Okay.
And we have that meeting coming up.
Yeah, Monday.
Monday.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to, I guess, a little Q&A. We've had a couple of them already, and been to a couple shift meetings. Robbie has, and just really trying to get the word out there, because kind of like how me and you've talked about before, in Southeast Texas, we thought there wasn't any other options.
Yeah.
We didn't know anything else existed, really.
You only know what you know.
Yeah. It's like we were in this little fishbowl that it's the only option you have, so just deal with it. And so now that we've discovered there are other options that do offer better services and better,
Product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really what we're seeking out.
So one thing that's interesting, we're in the business essentially of providing career insurance, legal protection, career insurance, like State Farm and Allstate provide homeowners insurance protection, auto insurance protection. When the discussion began of leaving another organization to come over to Tmpa, and it was just discussions of occurring and a possible vote for that to occur, the other group sent you a scathing, threatening letter, threatening court action against you and against the organization for potentially leaving. Would that be like if I decided I didn't want State Farm anymore and State Farm decides they're going to take me to court and sue me because I may be looking at going to Allstate or Farm Bureau? Were you a little shocked to get a scathing, threatening letter?
At the point of how long I'd been a president, I wasn't shocked, but yeah, pretty much. Because at the end of the day, we are we're the customer. We don't work for who we're paying; they work for us. And for them to do that, the people that sent me the letter, first off, have never contacted me a single time. I didn't even know this person existed as the president of that organization for the entire time I was on the executive board and president. Have never spoken to them, have never been contacted by them at all. But when the word gets out that we were trying to transition to another organization in Tmpa, that's when I start being contacted by other people. And they start sending all these letters out to all 300 or so of our members, saying that I'm spreading lies.
I don't think that's good because, assassinating your character.
Yeah.
I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but that's not great customer service.
Yeah, I wasn't pleased with it.
I think that's just what they do. That's the same MO they use everywhere. We get calls from all the time from people that experience the same thing that you've experienced. I've experienced it, being the president of BPOA, and now it's him is experiencing it there. So they haven't changed their ways.
Yeah. And one thing that it was pretty par for the course was when Port Neches, Groves, and Nederland all voted to go to Tmpa. They're smaller agencies. They're 30-man, 25-man departments. Nothing happened. It's, you didn't care when these guys left. But, people that you're making money off of, now it's a problem. And you want to threaten a state district judge to come and intervene and calling Tmpa a second-rate organization, which is kind of, it's just bad business. So
they took a pretty good shot at me too in that letter, but
it's pretty unprofessional to me. If just in my opinion, I think it was all pretty unprofessionally done. Instead of calling me or meeting me somewhere, hey, let's talk about it. What's the issues y'all are having? What are y'all wanting to get out of this? It's never really been like that.
But it would have made a world of difference.
It would have. And I'm not like a Republican Democrat, like die hard one thing or the other. I'm wanting what's best for my members.
Yes.
And if Tmpa was treating me that way, I'd be wanting to leave the same way. I'm not like no matter what sticking with one thing, blind to everything. It's just what's going to be best for the association. And
Every association is different. What's best for Jeffco may not be best for Garland, may not be best for Marshall or Beaumont.
Sure.
All associations are so different. But the important part of this is the autonomy of local control. There's 2,900 police agencies in Texas, 2,800 police agencies in Texas, probably 2,000 associations. We have a huge chunk of those. We have over 33,000 members. If you called me and said, hey, as Jefferson County, we're going to endorse Hillary Clinton and Beto O'Rourke. Okay. If that's what you guys feel is best for Jeffco,
Yep.
cool. Probably not something we're going to do, and here's some maybe reasons why, but if that's what is best for y'all, get after it.
Yep.
And you had said in the past that if you guys wanted to meet with a state representative or speaker or someone, you guys were called and chastised and told that you couldn't.
Correct.
And if you did, they had to be there.
Correct.
That's just not how business works.
Yep.
That is your house. That is y'all's association. And we don't get to dictate. We have associations with 10 people in it. We have Dallas County and DPS. Both of them probably have 1,000 or 1,100 members in them. I don't get to tell a 4-officer association what to do.
Yep.
I don't get to tell DPS, where we have over 1,000, 1,100 members. We don't tell them what to do.
Yeah.
If they think that's what's best for their specific set of circumstances and the politics and the personalities, that's what's best for them. It's not up to Tmpa to come in and tell you, you shall do this, and if you don't, then we're going to do this. That's just not how this thing operates.
Sure.
We're an umbrella to be an asset, not to dictate
Yeah.
what you guys do. Because what y'all are doing there may be totally different than, what Beaumont or somebody else needs to be doing. Way different.
Well, if you had to resort to threats or imitation for any company or any organization,
Yep.
then your product itself is not worth selling.
And LE or alpha people, you don't threaten
No.
winning minds and changing hearts. Threats is not the route to do that.
No.
That's what I don't understand because, well, not all of their group, their leaders in their group have walked a day in our boots as a corrections officer, even as a police officer there. Not all of them have. All of ours has, but not all of theirs have. So I don't think they understand. They think they could try to intimidate, and you hire them in your house and bring them in your house. You pay them a large amount of money every month, which adds up to a great amount of money at the end of the year. You don't get the service, but then you try to think about leaving to come to us or whoever else, or just go independent.
Correct.
They want to try to sue you to do that. You get an injunction from a district judge to pause the vote because it violated the bylaws.
Yep.
When a phone call to you would have been much more appreciated to discuss what's causing this, what's the problem. But
Hey, brother, what's going on? I'm hearing this. What
Yep.
what can we do? Or rather than send a threatening letter.
yeah, I think now, and I don't want to speak for you, but you're so done with them and they're too far gone for you and your group to recover from. Whatever they try to do now is just going to be like dangling a carrot. Like if they bring you a logo cooler or the swag they bring and drop off and think that's fine when they get back out of town, it's back to the same old thing that they were doing before, which is not effective and it's not working and it's not what you need.
Well, it's like dating a girl and telling her she calls to say she's going to break up. Well, I'm going to sue you then. Oh, well, that'll probably really make her stay with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to force you to be with me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I changed my mind. I do love you then.
Yeah. And that was the confusion, that you work for us. We're paying you, so we're the ones that should be receiving the service. You're not dictating this. We had a lot of people, when I first brought up, Tmpa, that didn't really hear about them. They think everything's going to change and, thinking that Tmpa is going to have more control. And at the end of the day, I explained to people, like you said, we're Jefferson County Sheriff Association. Whether Taco Bell is representing us or Tmpa, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we're our own thing. And we're going to do what we want to no matter what. We just want better customer service.
I think
at the end of the day.
Your group over there. You have several old schoolers there. That's all they know is the group you're with now.
Yep.
So they're used to being controlled by them and them telling, the other group telling them what to do. We come in your house, we're going to get out of your way. You call me if you need something. I'll pop in from time to time to check on folks. Yep. But I'm not ever going to tell you. We're never going to tell you what to do.
Yep.
We give you advice, But like Clint said, you know what's best for your group.
And to the extent that sometimes we'll have locals call, hey, we're going to do this. We're like, man, that's not what we recommend. Well, that's what we want to do. We want to pick a fight with a chief, or we want to, and we're like, man, your circumstances right now, you're not in a good position of power or strength. And, well, we're going to do it. Okay, that's your call to make, and that's we'll try and give you some guidance or direction. We're not going to dictate. You shall do this. You shall not meet with this person. You shall do. This is not how this thing works. That's not. And as a local president, I was thinking back. I heard your story, and I heard another story from someone else somewhat similar. And I'm thinking, dude, if I'd have been the president at Garland, got that phone call, I would have been en route to Austin to find that person in person.
Yeah.
I deleted about 12 emails that I typed up. I would sit there and just going nuts on my phone, and the shower's running, and I'm supposed to be getting ready for work. I'm about to run the hot water out of my shower because I've just been standing there in the bathroom just like, fuming mad, and I'd delete it, be better than that. You're better. Don't take the high road. And then I'd go grab my phone again. Like,
Don't use bad words.
Like, no, forget that. I delete it. I'm sitting there. I probably did it 10 or 12 times.
Well, keep us updated kind of how the vote works.
Sure.
We're looking forward to it. I think the vote's probably going to go the way that you think it will, and so we support you guys either way the vote goes.
Yeah.
I know that Robbie and this organization is going to stand behind you guys in whatever capacity that we can help out.
Sure.
You got anything else?
Caleb's very, very best day ever, and Caleb's worst day ever.
In life or?
Yeah, sure. Law enforcement, life.
Man, that's a deep question. I'm trying to think.
Wasn't expecting that, was you?
Yeah, man. Wow. Best day ever. Probably when I had enough seniority to go to day shift was probably my best day ever in law enforcement. When they gave me that phone call and there was, spot left open on days.
I'll take it.
I got made fun of by my buddies on, on midnights. But yeah, that was probably my probably most exciting day. Probably worst day in law enforcement was probably the first 30 minutes after that plant exploded. I had never accepted death before. You don't hear people say you're very calm during that, and it was.
Peaceful.
Yeah, surprisingly it was. When the flash of light came over, I'd never accepted this is it, and I wasn't freaking out, but it was terrifying. All at the same time, but yeah, that was probably.
I can imagine that. Yeah,
it was beyond terrifying. Yeah, when you can feel the heat from a mile and a half away, you can feel the heat radiating on your back as you're walking around and stuff. Yeah, that was probably the scariest. Probably the worst.
How old are you?
32.
What would 32-year-old Caleb tell 16-year-old Caleb?
You don't know everything.
Pretty solid.
You don't know everything, and you probably won't for a long time.
I don't think you ever know everything.
No, but I can tell you myself at 16, I thought I did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm with you.
And, as a rookie cop, I thought I knew everything. Yep. And I think about, dude, how embarrassing. When I think about how I acted, as a rookie cop and the things that I did, you're like, dude, you're a moron. You should just shut up, quit talking. You don't know what you're talking about. Yep. Yeah. Yep.
I'm 51, still trying to learn and figure it all out.
I'm figuring it out slowly, I guess.
Well, we got three final rapid fire questions. Favorite cop car, favorite cop movie or line from a cop movie, and favorite drink of choice.
Crown Victoria.
Boom.
Just because the durability. You could throw it in reverse, drive. There's just no.
100%.
Yeah. Crown Victoria, they'd smell like a clogged vacuum cleaner after you've been driving it hard when you get out, It was just, I guess it's just something cool about that.
A Chevy Caprice probably would have survived the blast, probably completely unscathed.
No.
Well, he was in a Tahoe in the blast.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
So I was in a Chevy.
He was in a Chevy. And it didn't survive it. Well, at least
cracked windshield. So, yeah. Crown Victoria probably would have
it just flowed right
drove right through it.
Yeah.
Blown you all the way to the ocean, probably.
Favorite cop movie or line from cop movie?
Training Day.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Training Day. Even though it's a crooked cop, it's my favorite.
Yeah.
Denzel's the man.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, you're in the office, baby. That's probably my favorite line from that.
And favorite drink of choice?
I would have to say grapefruit juice and vodka.
There you go.
I like it. Any specific vodka you like?
I usually go with Tito's.
I like it. Yeah. I like it.
Tito's or Grey Goose.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, you got anything else?
No. So other than I appreciate you coming up,
Oh,
appreciate
yeah,
you
yeah.
being on, appreciate your bravery to stand in the fire because being in LE is stressful enough. Being association leadership is stressful. And then trying to affect change for the better of the organization, sometimes against folks' will or sometimes not against their will, just you only know what you know.
Yep.
And then getting threatened for doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I appreciate you standing in the fire, brother.
Yep.
Definitely.
Glad to.
Yeah. And I'm a phone call away. You know that.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Any of us are.
Thanks for coming up, dude.
Oh yeah,
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Nice
Robbie?
to meet y'all.
Yeah.
Good having you on again.
Hey, good to be here, man. I got a fresh haircut, beard trimmed, and
Oh, your beard's trimmed?
yeah, look at the size. Look at that. They faded it in. It looks nice. Got the headphones in the way. But
Oh nice.
We don't have like a policy against the yeah, it looks
if we had a policy against something, you'd stop trying to grow a beard yourself. But
I just didn't shave this morning. I woke up early.
oh, okay.
Get off me.
Yeah,
God.
we're good. We're good. We're good.
All right. Well, this about wraps this thing up.
Oh, actually, I got a birthday coming up tomorrow.
This about wraps this thing up. You guys take care, stay safe. God bless you, and as always, may God bless Texas. We're out.